are listening to the Balancing Act podcast. Here's your hosts, Jamie Wonko and Joe Vitale.
Recording.
We are? Are you sure?
Yeah, I am totally sure. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing, Balancing Act podcast listeners?
Welcome back, season 2.
Season 2. This is very exciting. I've been limiting my caffeine intake all summer, and I've only had 1 cup, trying to be good. And now I had 2 cups of coffee this morning. So,
you're going to be running around your studio.
I think this is what it's like to have meth. I don't know, but it might. Might be.
That may be a stretch. Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, we're doing it live. Okay. Welcome back. We are so happy to be back with you. I am one of your 2 hosts here. I'm Joe Vitale, and with me in the outdoors with her sign that I am jealous of is Miss Jamie Wonko. How we doing, buddy?
Hello.
Okay.
We are doing. We are
on the precipice of Labor Day. Which in for those of us in New Jersey and East Coast, for the most part, it's the signification of the end of summer. So we will be dropping our season 2 slate of episodes and guests very soon. But we do have a big announcement for all of our listeners that we've been teasing for a while. And I don't know, Jamie, do you want to make the announcement, or there should be a drum roll? I can't do it. I can't, fun fact about me.
You can't roll your tongue. You can't roll your R's.
I cannot roll my R's. So when you do ruffles have ridges in Spanish class, I was always like, "Rrr," and I sounded like I was swallowing my tongue. So it was never a strong suit of mine.
Okay.
So what are we, our big announcement is, there it is. We will be releasing weekly from now on. We're giving it a try. We're going to be releasing weekly episodes. We already have a slate of guests that we're very excited about for you to get some insight and content from, some great people that we've done some interviews with, building our slate of material for you guys. But we'll be releasing every Tuesday. You can hear us now on your favorite podcasting platform. So we're very excited about that. We're making some steps in the right direction to, help as many people as we can. And we hope that you'll share our episodes with your colleagues, your friends, your family, whoever you think might benefit from our message. So it's very exciting.
Absolutely. So we were, we're dropping it like it was hot every other Tuesday.
Word.
And, so now we'll be going to, every single week. And so hopefully everybody can, make it that, special drive to work or drive home, or, some of you who just sit in the driveway and stare at the front door for, a good half hour before you can muster in the strength to go in.
Yes.
Make that time the Balancing Act podcast time.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. I mean, what better way to pass that time away than to be involved with us 2 maniacs.
Take us on a walk with you.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to us the way that I do at 2.0 speed, go for it. Speed us up a little bit. That's kind of how Joe's talking today. So he'll be at 4.0 speed.
I don't know what I sound like at 2.0 speed, but I don't think I want to know what I sound like at 2.0.
Oh, that's how when I pull the clips, that's always how I listen.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
You got to speed it up.
So we might as well, let's do a little summer update. Would love to know what were some things that you did on your summer vacation, friend. We all do this the first week of school. What was your summer vacation?
What was your summer like? And I
feel
tell
us about it.
There's certain the first hour of school of being back to so much reality, all just, it's like when they used to dump the slime on people and you can't do that on television. That's often how I feel about the first hour of being back at school. But and it's just so much, I don't know. And then I'm like, did I do anything? I can't remember. I can't start remembering what I did until October, once I feel like I can calm down a little bit. But we had a really great family trip to Disney World, and we really enjoyed that so much. And we went to the water park. We went to the amusement park since being back home in New Jersey. I went to the New Kids on the Block concert.
Hanging
Yeah,
tough.
I was
There you
hanging
go.
tough. You know it. A lot of beach days, some jet ski time, some boating, some clamming, some fishing. All of the things that I really enjoy doing. Anything that's connected to water is for me. So a lot of that, a lot of time with the kids. I did more reading, adult reading than I've done this summer in a really long time because I usually am always, focused on reading for middle school level to give book recommendations for my book club with the kids. But I was actually able to do some, and not just adult reading, but like actually go to like book club meetings
Awesome.
with other adults, which was really like a highlight for me. And I had a lot of work done on my house this summer. So I would say probably like in any of like my spare moments, I hit up like all of the Home Goods and TJ Maxx's that were in the like tri-state area.
Nice.
And just like little things like that. It was like looking for curtains, looking for the perfect rug. Looking for the perfect rug took 2 months. And a couple of rugs came in and they didn't make the cut. They didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
They were not America's Next Top Model for this house, so they had to go.
You pulled the rug right out from under them.
Mm,
Okay, that was real.
and
I
yeah,
think I'm gonna cut that out.
no, don't. No, it's authentic to you. And also, oh my God, I can't remember what I was going to say because of the rug pulling.
Sorry.
Oh man, and it was,
It
a
was
lot of
profound.
pool.
Yes.
And hot tub and pool and especially just floating around in my spare time. So and those are all like the good things. So I'll
Of
leave
course.
out some of the more difficult things. But how about you?
Well, we spent the early part of the summer was, my son plays travel baseball, so there was a lot of that still on weekends. Some day trips here and there, taking my daughter down to the shore. She sells her artwork down the shore, which is fun. We did some college visits, which was eye-opening.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Some New Jersey school college visits to look around and see, what's out there, kind of get a feel for what there was. I mean, my kids were looking for, part-time jobs and really didn't have much luck in that avenue. But we figured, you know what, let's use the time effectively. So we went to visit a couple New Jersey schools. And got a good sense as to what's out there and what's available. Just tip of the iceberg, but start taking a look at some other schools in the area, I'm sure, in the next 12 months and figure out that. I know you also did the same, right? You did a few college visits, right?
We did
Okay.
3. Yeah, we just kind of dipped our toe in the college visit pool,
Awesome.
but yeah.
We did go to Hawaii, which is a trip that we had been planning and saving for a very long time, which was awesome. Kids got to do a lot of fun things. We went to Pearl Harbor and got an experience there, which was, as a history teacher, I had went there on my honeymoon, over 20 years ago. But it's amazing how much you forget. But it was really a humbling experience to kind of go there and explain to my children, what had taken place, and they're both kind of students of history. They enjoy it and they love learning about it. Which was cool because we also at Pearl Harbor, it's kind of like the bookends of World War I and World War II, excuse me, because they have the start of World War II with the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and then the USS Missouri Memorial, not memorial, it's the ship itself, which is docked for you to be able to go and walk around and tour, which is where they signed the treaty to end World War II. So it's just interesting to kind of see and it's the same size battleship that actually sunk. So that was really cool for them to get the perspective. They swam with dolphins. We did some zip lining, which was a lot of fun, yet scary to be zip lining through the trees. That was really awesome. Hiked up to Diamond Head and went on a tour and saw some macadamia nut farms and really enjoyed, a very unique state in the United States, and got to experience it with my children, which was awesome. We did get to go. I got to go to the Foo Fighters concert, which is my favorite band in the universe. And unfortunately, we were there at the rainout day because there was like a biblical storm that kind of canceled the set. So we didn't get to see the whole concert. We only got about half of a concert set, but it was still a great experience. They enjoyed that too because they listened to that music as well. And yeah, that was really about it. And now we're gearing up to get ourselves ready to start yet another school year. And here we are.
Yeah. We went on a cookie tour. That was fun.
We
That was fun
did.
to say.
We
That's
did.
true.
Yes, we did.
Mhm.
Myself and my daughter and Miss Wanko did a little New York City cookie tour
We
where we
did.
went to different cookie places and tried some different things.
Yes.
Went to some beautiful what was the one that we went to? The one with the flowers on the wall. I can't remember the name of it now.
Maman.
Yes, which is a great little French cafe. I love the chocolate chip cookie there. It was like a
Mhm.
thinner one, but it really was really a great atmosphere. We walked around the city and kind of toured around a little bit and
Yeah.
had some
I'd
fun.
never
And
walked through Central Park before, so that was really neat.
yes, I had
Yeah.
actually never been to that part of Central Park where like the reservoir is, and
Yeah.
kind of walked
Yeah.
around that, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
And no one punched us in the face that day, so that was good.
no one punched us in the face that day, which is also good.
There's been some
Let the adventure begin.
let
Um,
there's been some face punching happening in New York City,
yes,
randomly on the street,
you
so,
just be walking
um,
around and it'd be
just not
like,
get punched in the face.
yeah.
Yeah, that's tricky.
The only thing that
Um,
we were punched in the face with was humidity because it was hot.
it's kinda
Um,
like that today, I'm gonna say.
yeah,
I thought I'd sit outside today, and I'm filled with regret right now
reg-
because it's no,
regret.
it's alright, but yes, it was sort of nice for about a week, which is funny because, I think the idea of, you can never please everybody, and, last week, I thought it was so nice out, and we actually had, a meeting at the high school that I went to, and it was, almost you needed not me because 'cause I'm always hot, but, you almost needed a sweatshirt,
Agreed.
and I was like, "Gosh, this is so nice, such a nice break." And one of the other parents was like, "I hate this. I want the heat back." So it's just like you can kind of
Yeah.
almost never really, um you can't please everybody.
Yeah, and I enjoy warm weather, but I'm in it was just awful. There were parts of this early part of the season, I say the season
Yeah.
meaning
We
like
live in
my son's
Florida now.
travel. Yeah, right. Like my son's travel baseball season that we're just be sitting outside
Yeah.
on a Saturday when it's 108 degrees out and just be incredibly uncomfortable and you can't hydrate enough. And for the first time ever in my driving history, I actually turned my car on to cool it down before we got into it because I couldn't touch the steering wheel. It was just horrendous.
Yeah.
So have Prius, will travel, baby.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't mind the heat if I'm not at work.
yes.
And I'm really glad we do have air conditioners, and we're very lucky for that. But there's just something about as long as I can get into water, it's fine. And
Yes.
people always say to me how do you go to Florida in the summer? It's like, well, I'm not that far away from either being inside air conditioning once I also don't have to look presentable in any way, so a pony and shorts, and you're good to go. A dip in the pool and makes everything sort of right. But yeah, for sure for New Jersey, the humidity this summer
Yeah.
has been pretty out of control. But yeah, we did do those college tours. I didn't forget about it as much as I just um you know put it out of my mind. But the last couple of days, for anybody that's on social media, there has been a flood of the return.
Oh,
So many
yes.
parents taking their kids and dropping them off, and there's been a lot, of emotion involved in that.
Yeah. My wife's been
Yeah,
kind of joke crying with my kids. Like we were sitting at the table yesterday and she turned to my son and was like, "What am I going to do when you go to college? I'm not going to be able to deal with it." I'm just like, okay, well, we'll deal. But it is it's funny to see like the funny videos with the Home Depot music of like, which dad are you? Are you the level everything dad? Are you the make friends with everyone dad? Are you the carry everything up the steps and need a break dad? I think that's
right,
funny because
right.
I'm gonna
Which
be
dad do you think you'll be?
I will be um I will probably be well because it's gonna be two at the same time. I'm gonna be like the let's keep everything on schedule dad
Yeah,
is gonna
I
be
know
me.
you guys might have to do. You might have to stagger that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll
because you
cry.
won't be able to fit everything at one time.
I mean, yeah.
Emotionally or physically.
Well, I
So
mean,
yeah,
true. Well, we also not to change gears here, but we have a very we're one of the few professions where we kind of get to hit the reset button at the start of every school year, right? We can go back and we could say, here's what went well for us last year, and here's what we want to do this year. So we figured we'd talk today about what our goals are for the upcoming 2024-2025 school year.
September is a teacher's, January for everybody else is our
That is true.
September.
So we get to kind of hit the reset button
Yeah.
and really take stock in what we're going to be doing. We're both teaching the same content. We haven't changed grade levels. We're in the same building. So there's some familiarity with that.
Sorry.
But no, that's fine. And so we definitely get the opportunity to like, okay, what do we want to do differently? What do we want to do better? What do we want to focus on?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we'll kind of dive into today. So
Yeah.
you have anything you want to?
I'm souped up for the new year. I'm excited. My kids are excited to go back to school, my own children. So, I always feel like that's really contagious. The energy around you is so contagious. So, a lot of people love to say to teachers, "Are you ready to go back?" And it's like, yeah, yes.
Yeah, everything has
But
to
also,
end.
why do you
Yeah.
have to say it like that?
Yeah.
Stop saying that. Are you excited to go back? And it's like, I don't understand when people say like, I don't know what I'll do with myself when I retire, because I just feel like there's just so much time for nonsense. So I just love like how much nonsense I can not, I can accomplish so little on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so looking at the new year, I printed my kids' schedules out, and we kind of looked at their teachers, and so that made me really start thinking about my own students and
Yes.
how many kids received their schedules yesterday and saw our names, right?
Yeah.
And kind of what their like preconceived ideas are about us or about having us as teachers. And, so that's like a whole, and then of course I started, I had already been to my classroom 3 times. I like to take the last week before school and, kind of give it like a little bit of a vacation vibe. So I try to get everything done for my classroom before this very last week.
Yes.
Because
Can we talk about what you and your husband called the week before you go back? Can we talk about it? Uh-oh. Are we not talking about it? Do you not remember what you call it? What does he call it? What does he
Oh,
call
like
it?
the celebratory week?
Yeah, the celebratory week. What does he call it?
Yes, we'll just call it the celebratory week. It's kind of like how he feels about Sundays, like take it back.
Yeah.
So he tries to make it fun and reclaim the last week before we go back to school. But same thing with Sundays. A lot of people are like, it's Monday or
Yeah.
Monday or whatever. So, it's like it's a growth mindset, really, to try to take it back and reclaim it. But yes. So he's one of those teachers. He hasn't opened the computer yet. He does not go into his classroom. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. Like it's just, and he owns it. He teaches high school and, and he's like, I will show up on the first day and see what's coming my way. Which I think is a really great approach. And he kind of doesn't approach like the rest of his life that way. So, he's
Which
not
you're right.
calm
Which is
in
interesting.
any, so it's like, wow, I'm glad that you can, do that about school because it is true. Like I never think about things in terms of like getting paid or not getting paid, but I did go in 3 different times and that wasn't just the 3 times that I went. It was all the times that I went to the store to buy things that I wanted to set up in my room. But
Yes.
I also feel like personally, like because I'm spending 4 hours a day, every single day, for the entire school year in that environment, it's very important to me that the environment makes me feel good. So that's really something that I take to heart because if I don't feel good in the environment, it's going to show to the kids.
I agree. And that's
And
actually one of the reasons that I went in yesterday.
yes.
I'm not a big decorator. And really, honestly, because the room that I have is not set up like you have like bulletin boards and stuff like that. Like my room is like a former, it's like a computer lounge room that has like high top tables and like stools, and it doesn't have like a bulletin board. There's like 3 TVs in there, which so they get utilized, but really just for like making announcements. So like I make bulletin boards digitally, and I just kind of like project them on the TV screen. So I really don't have anything to like decorate, but I just wanted to get set up and get like, because you put everything away, get my desk set up. And I kind of looked at my lesson plans to figure out like, okay, what do I want to do when?
Yeah.
I do a lot of, and I'm going to continue this. This is one of my goals for this year is to
Okay.
continue. I spend a lot of time in the first part, and I found this very helpful last year. Is I took a lot of time to do like community building the first couple weeks. I know that might seem like a lot. Like people are like, weeks. Why would you do that? Like, I'll get to the content, but it really pays off for me and it's not about procedures. It's about I do, some of the work that I do, the tutoring that I do for executive function. I do some of those lessons with my students, time management, weekly planning. I scaffold it to make sure that they know what that looks like, how to use a planner. We do a lot of team building activities. I have them constantly working in different groups, solving riddles, going through like problem solving techniques, working on little tasks together, getting them to communicate with one another and talk to one another. Those things are all very important to me as I start the school year. It pays off for me when we do different classroom activities later in the school year when I do that. I do social emotional lessons. I do cover, of course, some content. I do like a lesson around 9/11 where I have, we talk about the events of that day and what that looks like.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm excited to focus on that again. And I kind of looked at what I did last year and I was like, oh, I really like this activity, or that one didn't work. Like I really try to make sure it's fresh and different. And kind of for me, I mean, I know it's for the kids, but like I don't like to do the same thing every year. I like to try different stuff. I like to do different things. I know our principal is looking for us to do more activities to get the kids up and moving, station activities, for example. So yeah, I want to do more of that. I think that'll be good for the students that I'm going to have.
Yeah.
In looking at that, so that's definitely a goal of mine.
I as much as I love to try new things because in school, I'm a trier, but there is and I think sometimes it's difficult depending on who you're working for, who's evaluating you. But I think that there is some real solid importance and honor that needs to be given to the lessons that were developed and the techniques that were tested that work really well.
100%.
And it doesn't always have to be fast and shiny. Sometimes the best messages that get across are, the ones that maybe I've done for 20 years already, So there are things I don't mind, and I do enjoy like something new or something different. But at the same time, like there are things that I will do every single year.
100%.
And, even if I look like a zero to someone evaluating me, I don't care because I'm going to do it anyway, because I know that, as an educator, as a professional, that is a worthwhile, practice, and I'm going to keep doing it. So last year you started the school year with not using you didn't want to use the internet Chromebooks too much, or maybe
Correct.
you didn't use them at all. Will you be doing that again, or?
Yeah, to start the year, yes.
Okay.
I think that it's important that they are not distracted by the shiny object. I'm a huge proponent, as you know, an advocate for digital learning. However, I don't want to overuse things.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up Google Classroom very bare bones to start, post assignments that they need to do. I like them doing things on paper to get them started the school year, because I think it's like when you talk about tried and true methods, I think that that's something just to return to kind of get them like refocused. Also in, a lot of the discussions we've had surrounding AI and AI tools, I have shout out to Dr. Tyler Tarver, who talked about having an AI policy. He has one on his website, which I absolutely stole. Of course, edited and doctored up a little bit to kind of talk
Using AI.
Yeah, because I do want to talk.
No, I mean, did you use AI to edit and doctor it?
I did not actually. I just kind of read it over and just changed
Okay.
a few things.
Got it.
But no, I will be using those tools in class wherever possible. I know a lot of them are blocked, but I do want to talk to students about how
And a
we
lot
can
of them aren't.
and a lot of them aren't. And I want to talk to them about how to use it in an ethical manner.
Yeah.
I really like Dr. Tarver's policy that he has. And I think I'll link it in this episode too on YouTube, so you guys can see it, and in the episode description. Hopefully, you'll be able to find it, because it really talks about two specific things. Number one, the student needs prior approval. They have to talk to me. Right? Can I use this tool? And if they're asking me, the answer is always going to be yes. I'm going to ask them, how are you going to use it?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, is also they have to be able to, like, if they use like ChatGPT or Claude or Bard or Gemini or any of the other tools that are out there, they have to be able to verbally defend or talk about what they've written, what they've produced.
Sure.
It can't just be like copy paste regurgitation. It needs to be something that they're able to read, understand, and defend.
Yeah.
I know they're using the tools. You know they're using the tools.
Yeah.
Like, we need to come up with a better process
Totally.
in how that's going to work in the classroom setting. So I do want to eventually get to that. I teach seventh grade, so I think students are mature enough to start having that discussion.
Agree.
At lower grade levels, it might not be, but like every tool that we use, also has some kind of AI feature that attaches to it, a little magic wand that you hit and it does something for you. And I really want them, using the tool effectively in class, but also realizing like, okay, once I know how to use the tool, I can then use this to save me time or be more efficient with what I'm doing.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm, those are two things I'm going to focus on. I guess the third goal, or for myself, classroom wise, would be I am going to have an in-class resource class with another teacher during 2 periods. So I teach 4 periods, so 2 of them going to have another teacher with me, which I'm excited about. I haven't done it in a few years. I'm excited to work with my colleague, Mr. Harry, because I think that we are going to complement each other nicely. I think that we'll come up with a good strategy to help those students that have deficiencies in our classes. Those are things that I'm just looking forward to. I don't know what that's going to look like right now.
Yeah.
But Mr. Harry and I have had a couple text message conversations about, things that we want to do, things that we expect, and things that we are going to, like, what are our expectations for our students. And I think that we're on the same page. So it's good to know that, it's going to be I assume it's going to be a good relationship. I have a good relationship with him. So
yeah, he's
it's
an
gonna be
interesting
exciting.
cat. He always has something that he's just read,
Yeah.
reviewed.
My dude is like a woodworker, and
Gardening. I mean,
he's
yeah,
gardening, and he's kind of it. I mean, I guess he's like the definition of like an old soul, right? Like
100%.
because
Because he's a lot younger than we are.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's in his early 30s, mid 30s, maybe. I mean,
Yeah, he was a student at my school where I used to teach. I didn't have him, but he was a student there.
oh really?
And yeah, and we had talked about different experiences, different people, and different teachers that he
I
had.
did
And
not know that.
yeah. So he's really and just he has great suggestions for like interesting documentaries that he's read and that he's watched, and books that he's read, and even just how to irrigate your backyard garden. It's just there's always like something that he's working on or something
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Mr. Harry, if
So.
you're listening, I ain't irrigating a damn thing. So you can keep you can keep your gardening stuff to yourself, because if it's green, it's not for me, because
Yeah.
I kill it. I'm not a plant person.
Yeah.
Anyway, I kind of rambled on about what I'm looking to achieve with myself. What about
Yeah.
you? What are some goals you might have for yourself for the 2024-2025 school year?
So I am going to try to, and this is probably not going to be the last time that I say this, but I'll say it. I'm going to go bold. We have to share our classrooms, and I take a lot of pride in what my room looks like, what my space is like, the environment that I create, and I'm fine with sharing as long as the other person that I'm sharing with, the other adult that I'm sharing with, is respectful of my things, my space. And so we just found out that we're sharing I found out yesterday I'm sharing my classroom with someone who has a reputation for not necessarily tidying up the nursery, so to speak. So Mary Poppins be damned, I'm coming in. I am gonna start out with like really really laying down the law. I had 3 passes last year go missing. I suspect fact, it was a day where there was a substitute and all three of them were gone, which I can only imagine they ended up in a garbage somewhere. And that really bothered me for a very long time, and I had said to my students, like, there isn't anything that I wouldn't get for you or give to you that you needed. And so if I feel like this space is my home, my second home, I want you to come to this space and treat it with the utmost respect, the way that I treat you, the way that I treat the belongings around here, just the whole environment. So it's hard for me because I came from, 20 years of having my own space and not sharing. So, like one of those things where if you plugged something in and you left it there, it would always be exactly where you left
Yeah.
it. So I'm going to try to set like very clear expectations from the very like before the first day of school with my shared space. And, and you're not going to get 3 strikes, you're out. It's going to be 1 and that's it. And I'm absolutely going to have a zero tolerance policy for that because um, you know, it's important to me. And I've kind of decided at this point, midway through my 40s, it's like, nope, it's okay to say no. It's okay to show someone that, you don't agree or that it's pushing a boundary. It's not okay with you. And I, have to let go of some of that, oh, it's all right. Oh, don't worry. No, it's not
There.
all right. It won't be all right,
Yeah.
so, and that's okay. I feel like, you know what, this is how it's going to be, especially because so much of my own money is tied into things that I am doing there. And that's
Yeah.
fine with me because that's a choice I make. But it's also a very hard line that I'm going to take about my things being respected because it's like not respecting me.
I agree. And
Yeah.
I've been catching up on season 3 of a great television show, The Bear, which I
Oh,
love.
I have to watch that.
It is just phenomenal, and parts of the beginning of season 3 are very funny. It's just 2 like Italian guys in a room like saying "f you" to one another in very colorful ways, and it's
Sounds
amazing.
like holidays with my family.
Yeah, true. No, it's colorful and it's great, but they actually the part of the episode had part of this episode that I'm referring to had to do with the head chef, Carmine comes up with non-negotiables,
Mm,
and he's trying to
mm,
explain what non-negotiable, like, they're not negotiable. Like,
right.
we're not negotiating non-negotiables, and I think that it's unfortunate, but we have to go in that direction
That's how it's
sometimes. We
gonna
have to
when
say,
I tell
like,
you zero tolerance, zero.
these are the things that for me are non-negotiables.
Correct. Yep.
And that goes for, unfortunately, for adults,
Yes.
but also for students as well. These
Mhm,
are my, and students should have them too. Like,
mhm.
you should have non-negotiables. No
That's
one's
right.
going to speak to me in this manner
Mhm.
or whatever. Like, you
Yep.
know, and I think that that's very, very important.
Mhm.
To and it's a boundary setting thing once
That's
again.
right.
And it's
That's right.
hard to do that in our profession because sometimes we have people
Mm.
like, they're kids. They got
Oh, come
no.
on. No.
No, that
No.
doesn't, and you and I are kinda on the same page with that. Um,
Nope.
as
Yeah.
someone who's always been like, either I had my own room for a while, and then when I came to this building because I was teaching an elective, and it was, like, not teaching social studies at the time, I was traveling from classroom to classroom, and I was always like, "Ooh, I don't wanna mess with anything." Like, I
Right.
didn't wanna leave anything anywhere, I didn't wanna leave any messes. I said, like, "This is not, like, my space, it's someone else's space. We are a guest in this room," even though, like, technically our rooms are not our rooms. Like, I get it, but we also invest our own money. We invest our own time
Right.
and we invest like things that we
If I'm
spend.
buying the cleaning supplies no. If I'm buying the cleaning supplies and I'm stocking the paper towels and I'm buying them myself and I'm putting up the decorations and I'm wiping down the tables and I'm scraping the gum off the bottom and I am, doing all the things, then
Yeah.
no, it's a non-negotiable for
Yeah,
me. No.
exactly. And it's
Nope.
also like, just regular school supplies that you want to share and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
great, but like let's be respectful of each other. Like if I
Right.
say to you like, "Hey, like I don't want anybody doing A, B, and C at like my desk or whatever." Just to use that as an example. Like then you don't do that. Like,
That's
I'm
right.
asking you, like, this is where I am every day.
That's right.
I'm there for like you said, 4 hours a day, and
That's right.
the building that we happen to work in does not have free space. Like,
No.
it is packed,
Packed.
And unfortunately, that's something that we have to deal with.
Right.
Do
Which
you have
should
any?
be, which is why it should be as commonplace as, you know what I mean? It's not, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer to do that and to kind of go in and go out in that way. But anyway, so yeah, so
I
that's
basically started.
one.
Sorry. I basically started by saying, like, look, I happened to talk to the other person that I'm sharing a room with, and I said, like, hey, look, I got Chromebook chargers that they give us, and I have class set of headphones. You're more than welcome to use. I said, however, if those things are not going to be used appropriately, like, you're on your own, bud. Bring your own.
Mhm.
Like, I had to do that last year, unfortunately, because multiple chargers went missing, quote unquote, just disappeared. I would, have a student give collateral and then get back from them at the end of the period, and like they would just, a kid would like, oh, I don't have a charger. I'll just take this one. And it would leave and like never bring it back. And it was never a student that I had. And it became very difficult. Like I had to go to the computer teacher and be like, hey, I need another charger. Finally, I was like, look, this ain't me. Here's what I'm doing moving forward.
Mhm.
This is what we have to do. Like, I don't want to start out the year that way. I want to give some grace.
No, I'm not.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm just choosing to handle it that way. But
Yeah.
like, again,
No, I'm not.
first instance, it's like, this is not happening.
Yeah. No.
Um,
No,
but
no
yeah,
grace.
do you have any other goals?
Yeah. So one of them is not just necessarily for school, but like for my home. So we're starting a new vibe this year as like, I'm in middle school and I have 2 middle schoolers. So
I'm sorry to interrupt. We talked about this briefly on the beach, and I was
Mhm.
like, this is like, you have to talk about this
Yeah.
because I think that what you are about to mention
Yeah.
is something that many parents that are in your position deal with. And
Yeah.
I think it's a great strategy.
Yeah.
And I love it
Oh, thank you.
for you and for what it's going to teach your children.
I hope
So
so.
I'm sorry to
So,
kind of jump
no,
on
yeah,
top
no,
of
you're
that, but
good.
I'm excited about this part.
Yeah. So, and I actually
Coffee's
just
kicking in.
I just sat down with my husband the other day and we talked about the importance of this and how it's something that we're going to be doing as a whole family. And my point of like even so last year my girls started middle school. The schedule was new, as we knew as teachers, was a lot for the kids to absorb. It was like they almost had all first year teachers at the same time all day long. Everybody's pacing was off, and there was a lot of grade requirements, and so just there was a lot of stress. So I am home always right after school, whereas my husband often is not until a little bit later. And, and we share like the driving and the going and the doing and those things. But as a lot of parents know, there's someone parent wise that ends up sort of taking more of, in the term like mental load of being a mom. Like that has become really something that comes up for me on a lot of my social media, like for you reels and things like that. So, I always knew it was there, but to like kind of have a name for it is really good. So essentially what happens is because I'm the one that receives the children like first, how are you? What's going on? It's sort of this like barrage of everything that happened throughout the day. And it just so happened that last year, nothing good happened ever. As far as like my daughter's no, I mean, it's true. As far as like my girl stories were concerned, like nothing good happened ever.
Nothing good happened.
Nothing good happened ever. And so I mean, and this was like a habit. I mean, even like my one daughter, like in like first grade, I used to have to make her like tell me 3 good things before you tell me the bad things.
I remember that, and I love it
Right?
because you have the girls are twins, and
Yeah.
one's a little bit more. I don't want to say negative, but a little bit more.
Yeah.
I guess negative. Yeah, than the other one.
It's the world is against me sort of vibe, and which is not how I roll. So you get the children that need to teach you lessons about yourself, I guess, right? So anyway, so I told them and I told my husband and everybody's on board. We are not going to talk about anything that happened at school or anything negative until 6 p.m. At that point of the day, my husband is usually home. I'm going to hope to encourage them to try to share some of their trials and tribulations with him, and not just me, just because I happen to, be closer and pick them up. Also, what happens is usually by 6 o'clock, what was so traumatic and awful at 3:30, they can't even remember.
You
And
also said you were also gonna like, there were things that they were supposed to
oh,
be
yeah. So
doing,
usually,
correct?
yeah.
I
So you,
just
yeah, not just ignoring them, but like usually by 6 o'clock, like I'm still worked up from the stories of the things that they told me, and they're like la 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 la, like nothing ever happened. And so we're going to implement very specific strategies of things that they need to do upon entering the home. And of course, this would be different on different days depending on what kind of activities they have to go to. But it's going to be like you're going to go for a walk, take the dog, or go, or walk yourself. You can, if it's raining, cold, walk on the treadmill. You can listen to music. You can do yoga. There's a bajillion to choose from on YouTube. You can paint. You can create. You can craft. Get out the hot glue gun. They're, very, very creative and artsy. You can journal.
I think those are all like, and a lot of times there, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Cathartic, right? It's
Yes. Oh, yes.
the ability to like, okay, I'm gonna write like you're pissed at somebody, you want to write
Right.
an email to them, you write the email, and then you don't send it, and then
That's
you
right.
sit for a little bit, and you're like, okay, I got it out of my system.
Right. Like I'm over
And
that. Yeah.
there's sometimes like, well, yeah, like you said, like at 6 o'clock, you might not see it as much of a problem as 3:30 you.
It's so true
Yeah, and
because oh, I'm getting dive bombed. And we also, it's like, I would say to them, because you should be, for a long time, it was like, they would have like their little, 7-year-old problems. It wasn't so, and then it became like 11-year-old, 12-year-old problems just hit me different. And,
yes.
and, and it did become like a me thing. So it was, okay, we could used to be able to run through these things, work them out, and then I'd have my quiet time in the kitchen. I'd feel better. We'd move on. We'd have a nice evening. And that wasn't the way that I was absorbing it. I guess in
Mhm.
my like perimenopausal state also, I wasn't absorbing that like those stories the same as I was when they were younger. And so I also, I feel like if that issue has like staying power for a couple of hours, once you're home and you're in your safe environment, then yeah, hit me, tell me, what do you want? Well, let's go through it. Which, could very well be the case, but that's what we're going to start with on this adventure this year. And we have 100 students every day. So after hearing like, what they need, and answering all of their questions and helping them and being, what I would hope would be my best self for my students, excuse me, I wasn't giving my own children that, because it was a constant barrage. Also with the 3 kids, and what my kids don't realize, and I can tell them, but they don't realize it, is each one of them comes to see me separately.
Hmm.
And then like my spouse will swing on home and then wants to say something too. And being that I'm, in an emotional support position with my father, caring for my mom, that's another person. And then, for my friends or whomever else, it's each person is approaching me as they're the only person, which is lovely and special because those are the relationships that I cultivate, and those are the relationships that that's who I am to people, and
Mhm.
that's wonderful. But at the same time, it's not a lot for me to do it. It's a lot when it happens in like 30 minutes.
I've we last
Yeah.
year, and I hope this year,
Yeah.
that we're like we had lunch together pretty
Yeah.
much every day,
Yeah.
because of the way our schedules worked out
Right.
and stuff like that, which was great. Um, and there were times where I actually like you have something that's bothering you, and I would like tell you, and I'd be like, you know what, and I don't even want to burden you with this right now because of like I just feel bad going over this and talking to you about it because of all the things that you have going on in your life.
Yeah.
Um, which like I just wanted to make sure that like I was aware of like knowing how much that you go through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thanks.
So
But I don't feel like
but
most of the
and at
time,
each
I
time you
don't
were like,
feel like
yeah, shut up, Joe. That's like you
yeah, like,
never
shut up,
said that, but
Joe.
you're
It's
like,
fine.
no, like it's fine. Like I get it.
Yeah.
Like and it was reciprocal too. Like you would
Yeah.
unload on
stuff
me
was
every once in a
happening.
while.
Yeah. And I just feel like that's how life goes. But when I was really looking at like, how do I want to set up? That's my thing always of like, especially like with my marriage, it's like, let's set ourselves up to be successful.
Yeah.
Things are hard around us. We don't need to make things more complicated.
Yeah. And we also,
So like something that works so well with my spouse is nonverbal communication. For the first couple years we were married, and I would talk to him about different things, and I would be like, "Oh my God, I know you're not listening to me," but I would blah, 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 blah. And then somewhere like right around maybe the time that we had Drew, something where we started to run out of time to actually like look at each other and talk because we were just in different places at different times. We started emailing each other, and it became like the absolute perfect solution to a problem that I didn't realize it. And it was like, oh my God, this could be this easy. So for some reason, if I asked him to do A, B, and C, it was like, oh. And the minute that I put it in an email, it was like, yeah, absolutely no problem.
I get
awesome. It. Right. So I feel like, okay, there was a very simple solution to something, that we were able to like move forward. And now it's via text message or, via email, however it's going to happen that way. Great. But the same thing with the kids. It's like, no, I gotta tweak this a little bit because it's not working. It seems to be working for everybody else.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really working for me. And really in the end, it's not working for them because as we know, and having our older kids too, is I can't solve their problems.
No.
No one can do that, right? Like the only person you can help really is you. So I'm happy to listen and if there's some kind of intervention, but at the end of the day, like we are inside our own heads, our own bodies. So I always say like self-talk is so important because you talk to yourself more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So the things that you're saying to yourself that are negative or, why?
Yeah. And
Why?
Two things, as you know.
Yeah.
That your girls are going into 7th grade. Okay. Which in the words of John Ralphio from Parks and Recs is the worst.
The worst.
It is the worst because they are emotional basket cases. They are balls of hormones. There's all sorts of changes chemically going on in their bodies. They're trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
So it's only going to get worse. Second thing is, I think that this is something I may talk about with my own students when I do an SEL lesson. I mean, I think you might do the same. Like, here's things you can do if you're stressed out, like instead of just going home and unloading on mom and dad. Right. Might be a good idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are the goals and things that we are going to work on.
Yes. And I want to enjoy my kids, my students as much as I did last year. Cause I got to tell you, I really enjoyed the heck out of them. Yeah. So now it's so silly because I'm almost nervous. Like, oh my gosh, what if I don't do or say the things I did or said last year to set up to have such a great year?
Yeah. And I had some great kids too last year. Some ones that I really enjoyed. Yeah. And I even said to you, I really hope that there's certain kids that you have because I think that they'll gravitate towards you and your sense of humor. They're good kids.
I'm excited.
But anyway, as a quick aside, just to remind everybody, we are now weekly. We are so excited to be releasing content every week to you guys. And we hope that you'll continue to join us on this Balancing Act podcast journey. Special shout out to the girls, by the way, because you might notice some different voices at the beginning or end of our podcast.
Ooh la la.
And that is the young Wonko ladies who are doing our intro and outro. Lending their voices to our podcast.
I love it.
I need a new phone case. It'll always be a bonus.
Funny.
As always, I'm excited to go on this podcast journey in season 2 and with my buddy here. I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you and I appreciate air conditioning and I can't wait to go inside.
Yeah, you're so sweaty. Okay, and we will see you next week, people, on the next episode of the Balancing Act podcast. See you then.
Bye.
Balancing Act podcast will now be available weekly. Check out Apple Podcasts or Spotify and give us a follow. We appreciate you.